Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Kyra and today we're talking about products that blew my mind, specifically from e.l.f. Cosmetics.
There's some kind of a gnat or something in here, so if I look cross-eyed, that's why.
Anyhow, I've been picking up some drugstore products over the last couple of months, things that I've seen recommended from some of my favorite YouTubers, and I don't want to say that I don't expect as much from e.l.f. because it is such an affordable brand, but I'm always surprised if I find something that I really like from e.l.f. And I think that's because e.l.f. has really upped their game over the last couple of years that I've been into the beauty community here on YouTube. And so today I'm going to be sharing some of those products with you. I'm wearing most of them on my face, and I will have demos of me applying the products as we go. So the first one I want to talk about I have used in several videos thus far, and it is the e.l.f. Oil Control Primer Mist. This is a really good product. It absolutely keeps my oils at bay throughout the day, whether I wear this under foundation or alone. It's very easy to apply. I don't recommend you go in directly with the spray. It's a very direct mist, and I find that you get a better and more even application if you just spray. I use 4 spritzes into your hand, rub your hands together, and just press it into the skin as you're seeing in the demo. And like I said, I wear this without makeup, and I do feel like it increases the longevity and keeps those oils at bay. But I also really like it paired with the next product that I want to talk about. And this is another product that you may have seen in a previous video. It is the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer, and this is a pore filling primer. Again, I love this applied over top of the Oil Control Primer Mist. I just will press the primer mist all into my skin, and then I go in with a little bit. I have to use my nail to dig it out because there's no cute little coin or whatever that comes with the Tatcha one. But this is beautiful. Less than a pea-size amount is more than enough for me to do my forehead and like the rest of my T-zone. I do like the sides of my nose, around my mouth. And I really like this. I actually prefer this to the Tatcha Silk Canvas. I have just this little sample, and I'm glad for that. I've actually heard several other people with similar skin types. I should say that I have combo skin during the warmer months, so sometimes oily, sometimes normal. But I've heard others say that they prefer the e.l.f. Putty Primer over the Tatcha Silk Canvas, and they all had similar skin types to me. So maybe the Tatcha one is better for those with normal to dry skin, whereas I think that the e.l.f. Putty Primer performs beautifully on my combination skin. The other thing to keep in mind is that the Tatcha Silk Canvas does have a very slight scent to it, whereas the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer does not. So if scents are something that normally bother you or your skin, you may want to go with the e.l.f. option. Next is one I believe I heard from Noel. I will say that I heard about the e.l.f. Primer Mist from Andrea Matillano. I will link anybody I mention down in the comments. I don't remember who recommended this, although a lot of people have. But the next product is an Noel Made Me Buy It, and I didn't include this in my Noel Made Me Buy It video because I forgot. I just started thinking about it this morning, and I thought, oh yeah, I did see that on Emily's channel. And it is the e.l.f. Smooth and Set Under Eye Powder. This is $4. It says the shade is sheer. It's translucent. It has an ever so slight pink tinge to it, which you won't be able to see. But this powder is so finely milled. It's slippy, almost to the point of like something like a cream to powder product, or like something that has like a powder, if you've ever used a powder that has dimethicone in it. And it's such a beautiful product. I always just tap a little bit in the lid here, and then I use Emily's favorite brush for under the eye, which is the e.l.f. small taper brush. And this is every bit as good as any other translucent powder that I've used under my eyes. This works every bit as well as the Laura Mercier loose translucent setting powder. And I overall just love this. It's $4. There's a ton of product in there, in, you know, in terms of how much you're going to use on a daily basis to set your under eye, which I don't use a lot. I like to let my concealer sit. And the concealer that I used under this today is the Milani Conceal and Perfect. And the foundation that I used over those primers is the NYX BB Cream in Natural. Next is the e.l.f. Primer Infused blushes. I have both shades, Always Cheeky and Always Rosy. Always Rosy I love all on its own. It's absolutely gorgeous, buildable, smooth application, very blendable on the skin. It's just very impressive. And beyond that, I have a real time with blush staying on my face all day. My skin tends to absorb or eat my blush throughout the day, and I don't have that problem with the e.l.f. Primer Infused blush. That is the shade. I love me a Dusty Rose. You guys know that, and that is the one I use the most. And then the shade Always Cheeky, this absolutely can be built up on my skin to a very beautiful natural flush. And I definitely don't have this type of shade in my collection. You can see that this is a little light on me. So the thing that I really love this blush for is actually to blend out other blush or blushes. I don't know if that's a word. We'll pretend that it is. But yeah, and honestly, it doesn't matter if it's warm tone or cool tone. This kind of can go both ways. It's almost like a peachy powder. So this works really beautifully for blending out blush that I struggle with. For example, the Laura Geller, this is the Baked Blush and Brighten in the shade Sun Swept. This is beautiful, but it is very glowy. It's very prominent on the skin. It's sometimes hard to blend and shows the texture on my skin. So when I go in and blend it out with Always Cheeky, it's a done deal and it's absolutely beautiful. Next is one you may have seen others talk about because this was a part of a new collection from e.l.f. and I'm talking about the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Flush Blush. This is in the shade Berry Pop, and I think this is another Emily Noel made me buy it. It's a very jelly. Blah, 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 blah. Anyhow, it's a very beautiful color, and as you'll see in the demo, this is best applied either with your finger or a sponge. I personally prefer a finger, and I don't know, this is just amazing. The thing I like about this blush, I'll close it before it goes flying or something tragic. The thing I love about this blush, it is actually a cream or liquid blush that applies well whether it's under or over your powder. Today I applied it over my powder and I think it looks just fine. It doesn't pick up my foundation. It doesn't cause anything weird. I prefer to apply it over my powder because I don't like to dust powder over this beautiful glowy duochrome blush and then have it, you know, not have that sheen that I love about it. This blush does dry down completely. It does not remain sticky or tacky on the skin, which again, I love about it because it's not going to budge on your skin. Again, this is very long lasting, just like the primer infused blushes. And honestly, you could split this with a friend if you have a little container. I mean, I just barely touch my finger in there, and that's enough for the entire cheek, and, you know, a good amount at that. So if you and a friend want to try this, you know, I think you absolutely could split it up even 3 ways. Next is from the e.l.f. Beautifully Bare line. They always have this silver packaging, and this is the Beautifully Bare blush in the shade Soft Rose. Looks like this. It's a beautiful shade. Definitely a Jessica Braun Made Me Buy It product. She featured this on her channel recently. I think it was a trying new makeup or something. If I can find it, I'll link it below. But this is a beautiful cream to powder formula. Looks very coral in the pan, but even as I swipe it on my hand here, I can feel it turning to a powder. So how I best like to apply this is with a stipple brush. This is the stipple brush from e.l.f. and it just has longer duo fiber kind of thing going on here. I swirl it in, I buff it into the cheek, and I'm good to go. You'll also see in the demo that I applied this with my fingers on the other side, and it works beautifully like that. That's how Jessica Braun was applying it in that video. And I even think that you could apply this with a sponge. In fact, as if I don't have enough blush already, let's put a little more in there. I got it on the... Woo! I have to spread it between the 2 sides. Yep, it's beautiful with the sponge as well. We'll just blend that out and then go over. Ooh, I really got the blush on now. But you gotta compete with the red lip, don't you? And then I'm gonna take the foundation side of my very dirty sponge and just kind of tap that out. And there you go. And again, this one applies over powder as well. It's just a beautiful product. I think this would be lovely to travel with. I think this would be lovely for a person who doesn't wear a lot of makeup or doesn't wear foundation. This would be a beautiful product. It's just a really lovely cream blush, and especially with my combo skin, I really appreciate this cream to powder formula. Blends beautifully, as you just saw, and it is buildable. So highly recommend. They only had the 1 shade at my Target, but it's pretty. So last but not least, we're going to talk about what's on my eyes. I have talked about this before. In fact, I think I featured this in a month in review video as my palette of the month, and it is the New Classics by e.l.f. These are 18 pan palettes, and you do have 3 different formulas in here. You have these beautiful, creamy, soft, matte shades. You have more of your satin shades, like this one up here, which I'll eventually apply on my lid in the demo. And then you have some duochrome metallic type shades as well. And then if you really want to get technical, here's a matte with some micro shimmer in it, which we all love. But I do love this palette. Obviously, I went pretty neutral today, but there's some beautiful, fun pops of color in here. So as you can see here, these shades definitely pack a punch. Another thing worth noting is that while the Tasty Avocado from I Heart Revolution did not last on my eyes, these last all day. Full disclosure, I always use Urban Decay Primer Potion on my eyelids, and today and most frequently I do apply the NYX Glitter Primer on my lid before I go in with shimmers. The other thing I like about this palette, I think it goes a myriad of different ways. You have like a nice little grouping or gradient of the warm tones. In fact, I use these, I use these 3 mattes today and this satin shade right here for this look, but you can definitely go to cooler tone over here. These are 3 nice cool tones that would make a beautiful gradient as well. You've got some silver and gray shades down here to use. I love this color. It's called Black Cherry. And this one absolutely stains, but it's beautiful. And I love, it's a crap swatch. And I love using it for kind of like a very beautiful smoky eye. I think this and one of the silvers or gunmetal or whatever you want to call it in the palette, a 2 shadow look and a little something on the inner corner would be absolutely stunning. There's just nothing bad about this palette. I've used all the shades in here except for this shade with the glitter, and I don't think, yeah, I haven't dug it into the black at all in terms of application. I've swatched it, obviously. It's a matte black and it's beautiful. And like I said, these mattes are so creamy and buttery. They blend really easily, as I hope I reflected in the demo. And I highly recommend these 18 pan palettes if you can find a color story that speaks to you. So I'd love to hear down in the comments what are some e.l.f. products that blew your mind, or products that you recommend I try in the future, because I'm very keen to try more from e.l.f. as they make their products better and better. Of course, the price tag is going up with them, but I still find them to be extremely affordable. They even have skincare now. My daughter is actually currently testing one of their moisturizers. And I hope you enjoyed this video, or this type of video. If you did, you could give it a thumbs up and let me know. If you didn't, you can give it a thumbs down, and that will also let me know. I would like to do these more often. It won't always be one brand. I just so happened that all of this new e.l.f. stuff that I'm loving inspired this video today, but it's mostly going to be about products that were a pleasant surprise, products that performed better than I thought they were going to. Whether it's drugstore or high-end, that happens all the time. And it's not like I buy it and I'm like, well, this is probably won't work, but I'm gonna try it anyways. It's more of, I'm gonna give this a try, and then holy shit, this is just as good as any high-end blush that I have in my collection. So there you go. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with me and my bold red lips here on my channel. And with all of that said, I hope all of your makeup days are absolutely beautiful surprise performance makeup days. That was weird. I hope all of your makeup days are beautiful makeup days, and I will see you in my next video soon.